Tonight on NAIT NewsWatch. Protesters camp downtown as Occupy Edmonton gets on its way.
I can notice. I've been working harder, working longer, but I don't really see much benefit for it.
Edmonton hosts the 7th annual Anti-Graffiti Symposium.
Without community support, people reporting it and people being involved in it, you fail.
American congressmen take a tour of the oil sands.
This is critical for the United States.
NAIT NewsWatch starts right now.
Good evening. A movement to raise awareness about the gap between the rich and everyone else hit Edmonton streets this week.
Protests that began in New York City are spreading around the world. Our Brent McPhee joins us live from our news center with more on that story.
Occupy Edmonton began with a rally last Saturday at Churchill Square. The event organizers then moved to a park at 102nd Street and Jasper Avenue to set up a base for this week's protests. That slogan is at the heart of the movement, and Occupy Edmonton says it refers to the majority of the population whose labor and taxes allows the top 1% to maintain political and economic control of Canada. Since last weekend, people have been gathering and camping day and night to voice their concerns over such issues as the influence of large corporations on government, access to education, and environmental protection.
To the average onlooker, it may appear that people here this evening are here to protest just for protest's sake. And while it may be true for some, it certainly isn't true for all.
I can notice. I've been working harder, working longer, but I don't really see much benefit for it. And I think that's pretty common with all the people here.
Melcor Developments owns the park they are occupying and has made it clear it would prefer the protesters move to another location. So far, they have not moved. As the protest continues, participants plan on more marches to different locations, along with trying to further spread their message. Its organizers acknowledge the diverse nature of their group and its various interests, but feel this is one of Occupy Edmonton's strengths.
Absolutely, the more diversity in this group, the better. It does present challenges, and that's part of what we're learning about.
However, not everyone shares that assessment.
The issues are too comprehensive. People have different agendas, and it's very difficult to channel those into an organizational effort to make change in the existing political system.
Glenn Wozniak sees one clear reason for this protest.
And we just feel that it's time that the people who actually do the hands-on work need to be recognized and appreciated.
Despite skepticism from outside the movement, Occupy Edmonton plans on continuing the protests, at least for now.
Brent, how long do protesters intend to stay at the park?
Well, the organizers have stated that they plan on staying for as long as it takes to see government policies and actions that are in favor of the 99% rather than against it.
What is Occupy Edmonton's next move, Brent?
Well, at tonight's meeting, they will be debating tomorrow's agenda. So, like everyone else, all we can do for now is wait and see.
Thanks, Brent. That's Brent McPhee reporting live from our news center tonight.
NAIT NewsWatch, Edmonton's #1 student newscast.
Experts from around North America met earlier this week in Edmonton in hopes of putting an end to graffiti vandalism.
The city has become one of the national leaders in anti-graffiti. However, in some areas of the city, graffiti vandalism is still high. The Varsona Theatre has already been tagged 5 times this year, and the process of removing the graffiti tags takes away valuable time and money from local businesses.
Our technician has to go and find whatever paint will match that and paint over them.
For businesses such as the Varsona Theatre, graffiti is not only an eyesore and a hassle to clean up, it also affects some of their own artwork.
Well, the tower is an original work that cost thousands and thousands of dollars to do, and somebody tagged it in a fairly visible way.
Due to a high number of problems like the Varsona Theatres, the city has cracked down on graffiti by fining businesses $250 for graffiti on their buildings and harsher sentences for those who commit the crimes. Mayor Stephen Mandel credits the community for helping take action against the crime.
Without community support, people reporting it and people being involved in it, you fail.
Stuart Lemoyne hopes that graffiti vandals will find a better place to display their tags.
I wish it didn't happen. We don't go and do our plays in people's homes or businesses, whether we feel like it or not. Yeah. So there are legitimate places to create art.
After 3 years of construction, the 23rd Avenue Gateway Boulevard interchange is complete.
This was is a major intersection of the city of Edmonton, connecting two very important parts of our city, the east and the west part of the city. And
city officials say the project was completed on schedule and under budget. Expecting it costing $265.7 million, the final was just under $254 million, leaving the city $12 million to spend on other projects.
This is a project that delivers services. It delivers emergency support. It provides the opportunity for traffic to move safely and quickly.
Even though the project is complete, construction crews will be working in the area, and drivers are recommended to drive cautiously.
3 American Congress members spent time in Alberta this past week. The visit was a part of the province's effort to promote the oil sands. The congressmen from Illinois, Ohio, and South Carolina spent Tuesday meeting with Fred Fraser of the Fort Chipewyan Métis Nation, touring the oil sands, tailing ponds, and facilities. The congressmen are already in favor of the trip up north, but wanted to take it nonetheless to help convince other members of Congress that the oil sands are an important part of the future for the United States.
This is critical for the United States, and so that's why I'm willing, and I have to ask my colleagues, that's why I'm willing, to come up here and spend my time to make sure this happens.
Last year, Alberta welcomed 21 international guests to tour the oil sands and currently supplies 17% of America's oil.
The University of Alberta goes green as they hosted their 5th annual Sustainability Awareness Week. Throughout the week, the U of A campus was filled with events and displays to promote sustainability. Students and staff were also given the opportunity to make a commitment to improve their ecological footprint through an online pledge.
Sustainability is about social, environmental, and economic sustainability, and we're seeking to improve our efficiencies, our ecological footprint, and our exposure to people of all different diversities on campus.
Sustainability Awareness Week introduces people to new ideas and concepts through sustainability tours, cooking workshops, and presentations. This year was the 5th year the event has taken place, and it's something the U of A hopes to do for many years.
The Edmonton Humane Society is helping heal a battered dog after a reported case of animal abuse south of Edmonton.
Good boy.
Moto, the 2-year-old Basset Hound Beagle Cross, was brought to the Humane Society by the Humane Animal Rescue Team, or more commonly known as HART. Since HART doesn't have any medical care facilities, the Edmonton Humane Society agreed to help rehabilitate Moto.
And so we brought the dog into our care, and so he's been with us ever since. X-rays show that he has a fracture on his back right leg, and it's been splinted, it's healing.
Moto suffered his injury after being hit by someone swinging a metal rod. The possible witness has not come forward to the RCMP. Moto is currently in good condition and is expected to be put up for adoption in the next few weeks.
It's flu season, and Alberta Health Services is giving free flu shots to anyone over the age of 2. Every year, there are an estimated 3 strands of influenza that hit the city. Only a quarter of Albertans received their flu shot last year, which fell below the provincial goal of 30%. The province is hoping to double that number this year. AHS is trying to be one step ahead of the virus.
The best time to be immunized against influenza is early in the season before it's entered our community.
You can find the location of the immunization clinics on albertahealthservices.ca.
In an effort to promote the healthy eating, Edmonton put a local spin on a popular TV show. Choose Well Edmonton held an Iron Chef-style competition consisting of 5 teams from across the province. Teams had to whip up a healthy meal using locally grown produce. They only had 2 hours to hand their dishes over to the judges. In the end, Moorville's team won and took home $2,500 for their favorite charity and appliances from KitchenAid.
U of A researchers discovered this week that the biggest, fattest dinosaur was also the fastest. Scott Pearsons, a PhD student in biological sciences, explained that Carnotaurus, a carnivore, was the fastest dinosaur on the planet, reaching speeds up to 56 kilometers an hour. He says that it's because Carnotaurus's tail that it can reach these speeds.
And that translates, that increase in muscle mass translates to an increase in locomotive power. So Carnotaurus has simply got more muscles to propel it forwards.
Persons was able to come up to his findings by analyzing modern reptiles like the lizard and the crocodile. By studying their tails, he was able to come to his findings.
Coming up after the break, Edmontonians are dancing for donations.
Volunteers do Zumba for the Canadian Breast Cancer Foundation.
We did over 9,300, so we were trying to top that. So if we went over 10, we'll be extremely happy.
And we find out the best way for students to cope with stress.
When I'm stressed, I don't sleep very well, so I get really tired or run down.
Edmontonians were grooving for the cure last weekend.
Over 300 volunteers gathered in the Enjoy Center to raise money for the Canadian Breast Cancer Foundation. On Sunday, October 16th, Zumba instructors from around Edmonton joined together to host an energetic day of music, fun, and plenty of sweat. Lorena Beretta organized the event and hopes that it turns out to be as successful as last year.
Last year, with the online donations with Team Chestnut for the CIBC Run for the Cure, we did over 9,300, so we were trying to top that. So if we went over 10, we'll be extremely happy.
The event provided live music, and the Edmonton Eskimos cheer team even participated in the fundraiser. Although there isn't a total amount of how much was raised, 392 people attended, and it's an event that they hope to do again next year.
Now we head outside for weather with our very own Jen Ramstead.
Jen, what's the weather looking like for tomorrow?
Well, it is getting a little colder with winter on the way, but not too bad for the middle of October. Let's take a look at the boards. Calgary, there's a low of 0, high of 9, and 40% chance of snow or rain. Jasper, there's a low of -3, a high of +6, and 40% chance of snow or rain. For McMurray, there's a low of -3, a high of 6, and 30% chance of rain. Edmonton, there's a low of 1, high of +6, and 20% chance of snow or rain. The average temperatures around this time of year is a high of 10 and a low of 0. The records are a low of -13.9 in 1996, a high of 22.9 in 2000.
Weather is brought to you by NR92, the station for the students.
So temperatures are actually around average for this time of year. But if you remember last year, October 25th, it snowed. So it doesn't look like it's going to do that this year on October 25th. So that's not too bad.
I really hope it doesn't snow this weekend because, you know, me and cold, we just don't get along so much.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you, Jen.
Thanks. While the University of Alberta, Grant MacEwan, and NAIT are very different, they share some similarities. Stress.
That's right, with midterms around the corner, no matter what school you attend, you're stressed. Our Michael Gordon reports.
Katie Robershode, an education student at the University of Alberta, finds writing multiple essays and cramming for tests causes issues with her sleep patterns.
When I'm stressed, I don't sleep very well, so I get really tired or run down, but at the end of the day, I get the work done and I study, so I'm prepared.
Some of the most common symptoms we experience in terms of stress are, of course, the experience of anxiety, irritability, anger, depression.
Brett Sorstad, a second-year engineering student at Grant MacEwan, shares practical ways to deal with his stress.
I like to play different things. I'm on a soccer team, so I'll usually just try and exercise, go for a run. I just like going for walks by myself at night when there's nobody around.
Between the U of A, Grant MacEwan, and NAIT, the level of stress and the number of midterms ranges from program to program and person to person. NAIT's programs can be shorter than that of Grant MacEwan or the University of Alberta. Students find time to study both at school and at home.
Go home from school, sit on the couch, might turn the TV on maybe, and then I'll do like the homework that I have due for the next day.
Self-care basically revolves around ensuring that students are getting enough sleep, ensuring that they're exercising and that they're getting a good healthy diet, the things that a lot of students completely disregard during the time of test taking.
Midterms are stressful no matter what post-secondary institute you attend. It is important to remember that there are resources in place to help you manage your stress and provide you with tips and tricks specific to you to make your midterms a little easier to handle. Michael Gordon, NAIT NewsWatch.
Well, Danica, it looks like some teams are just wrapping up their seasons while others are just starting.
Yeah, I heard the men Ooks hockey team has been doing pretty well.
That's right, I have the latest on rugby in Canada, the Rugby World Cup, and your Ooks highlights. All that and more starts right now. Well, it's been nearly a week since Dan Weldon died in a 15-car pileup in Las Vegas, but his death still lingers here in Edmonton.
Up in turn number 2. Oh, multiple cars involved.
The 33-year-old was only 11 laps into his last race of the season before his car launched off another and flew into the catch fence, going more than 350 kilometers an hour. Many watched in shock as Weldon's car burst into flames, including one of Edmonton's own up-and-coming Indy drivers.
And how long it took for them to announce something, it just really, it put that kind of gut-wrenching feeling in your stomach.
Stefan Radzinski, who competed in the Indy Light Series in Edmonton this past summer, says there's always room for improvement, but believes the cars and tracks have gotten a lot safer in the last few years.
Overall, the safety of the sport has been really high. I mean, even at those speeds, but things obviously still happen.
Edmonton Indy also released a statement saying, "He was simply a great and wonderful individual and a very talented race driver. We know there is something special between Dan Weldon and the Alberta community." IndyCar is holding a public memorial to celebrate the life of Dan Weldon at the Conseca Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. The men Ooks hockey team took on the Augustana Vikings over the weekend and were looking for the 4th straight win. We'll pick it up in the second period with both teams tied at 1 apiece. Just over 10 minutes in, and Augustana's Brad Burke will play a little tic-tac-toe with Dane Banish to put them up by 1. Just a few minutes later, and Ooks Clinton Sanka would fly knee-to-knee with Tanner Korchinski. He'd stay down for a few minutes before getting help off the ice and would not return to the game. Shannon Sabados keeping her team alive on the penalty kill, robbing Tori Dick of a sure goal with 13 minutes left in the second. Augustana back with a vengeance. Harrison triple shot picked up by Liam Duraw, but he'd be unable to clear the puck, giving Kenny Bradley the steal and the Vikings a 3-1 lead. Into the third now, and Duraw would redeem himself, tipping the puck top shelf and Ooks trailing by 1. Duraw would find himself in yet another mess, trying to get by Kalita and getting interference. Augustana would capitalize on the power play. Tori Dick from behind the net up to Daniel Hope for the easy goal. It's 4-2 Vikings. Ooks strike back as Dean Prippick misses the puck and takes a fall while Stephen Pratt cleans up, holds, and shoots. Ooks down by 1 with 10 minutes left in the third. NAIT looking to tie it up on the power play as Brendan Stephen would head to the box for slashing, but this would be as close as the Ooks would come to scoring as Daniel Hope gets the empty net goal and the Vikings take it 5-3. The Ooks are now 3-1 and will be facing Mount Royal next weekend.
You know what, it comes down to details, and we're going to keep working on it. It's a process. You know, I'm glad to see how the guys battled for full 60 minutes, and I told the guys that to remember what this feels like and then look forward to coming to Monday and continue to work.
With the growing popularity of rugby and the Rugby World Cup, the sport has given Canada something to talk about. Matt Parrish, who coaches the University of Alberta women's rugby team, has noticed an increased recognition of the sport in the last few years.
It's been a good springboard with the Rugby World Cup being shown on TSN on sort of mainstream TV. There's been lots of people who've sort of come up and said, "Oh, I've been watching more rugby because."
Canada went to New Zealand for the World Cup with a few set goals that fell short of their own expectations.
We didn't quite meet our goals of qualifying third and automatically for the next World Cup, but I think we did our country proud.
They certainly got off to a really good start against Tonga, and that sort of set the tone.
Although Canada finished with only a 1-2-1 record, the team still believes they have a bright future. The final match of the Rugby World Cup will be held tomorrow with New Zealand facing off against France. Well, rugby may be coming to a close, but basketball season here in NAIT is just starting. Todd Warnick and the women's basketball team have been gearing up for their home opener over a month, and Warnick's second year in the program, he's brought a whole new class of recruits.
We managed to bring in 11 new bodies, 2 transfers and 9 freshmen that I think will make a major impact for us as we move forward this season.
A few of these players include Nicole Ruptesh, Brianne Frizzle, and Brittany Scott. Ooks home opener just started at 6, so you still have time to go and check them out.
I'm pretty sure all Ooks sporting events are free for NAIT students.
That's right, and if you can't catch the women's basketball game, the men's start at 8.
Thanks, Danica. Coming up after the break, we spend some time behind bars.
and we raised $1 in the process.
Raising money that is muchly needed for our programs.
Coming up in entertainment, we've got Alyssa Reed. Don't go anywhere. I'm serious. I'm watching you.
Makeup for NAIT NewsWatch is sponsored by MAC Cosmetics.
This week, Celeste and I spent some time behind bars to raise money for the Canadian Cancer Society.
We tried to plea our case as students, but the judges wouldn't listen. We were sentenced to raise $200 each. Jail and Bail is an annual fundraising event that has been going on for 22 years. Individuals are arrested and sentenced to raise a set amount of money before they can leave jail.
Bringing them down here, getting away from work for a couple hours, raising money that is muchly needed for our programs, research, advocacy, and it's just a good time.
After pleading our cases before the judge, we had to call friends and family to help bail us out.
I am in jail right now. Well, technically, it's the jail and bail for Canadian Cancer Society.
With bail set at $200 apiece, it took some convincing to get donations. In a bit of friendly competition, Sean and I tried to see who could get out first. I won, raising $260 and my freedom. Together, we brought in $460 for the Canadian Cancer Society. Our entertainment reporter Elise has been pretty jumpy these days. What's up with her?
I heard she's reviewing a really scary movie. I wonder what could be coming up in entertainment.
You can't listen to a hit music station here in Edmonton without hearing her songs. It's time to meet the young 18-year-old behind the big voice.
Alyssa Reed made her way to Edmonton this week for a concert at West Edmonton Mall. The young star was born here and tells us why she's happy to be back.
It's very nice to be back here because I grew up here and I was raised here, so it's very cool to be able to bring my music here too and to see my family and to have my family come and watch what I do. It's really nice.
Alyssa is a young adult on the way to stardom. Her songs Alone Again and The Game are popular on radio stations, have found their way into the iTunes Top Song playlist, and her single Alone Again was nominated at the Much Music Video Awards for Pop Video of the Year. But all this fame and exposure hasn't got to her head.
I went to the MMVAs and I was so starstruck by everything. I didn't actually take in the fact that I was at the MMVAs until I got home and I was like, that was the coolest thing in my entire life.
Alyssa hasn't found it difficult to stay true to herself with the chaos of the music industry surrounding her.
I don't actually find it difficult at all because I don't actually understand what's happening around me at all. I see it, but I don't actually get it. I don't know. Nothing changes for me.
The 80s were about wild hair and bright colors, and students at Grant MacEwan remind us exactly of that by putting a new spin on an old classic.
And now Kalio is to be granted Xanadu.
Xanadu first debuted as a movie about a muse who inspires a poor mortal to open a roller disco. The students bring the motion picture to the stage in this fun-loving play. One of the stars, Rebecca Merkley, tells us what we can expect.
In the end, it all, gathers together for a great show-stopping number in the end with roller skates and jugglers and tights and bright colors and disco balls. Everything.
The show runs October 21st until the 29th at MacEwan Center for the Arts campus. We have tickets to give away for Friday's performance at 7:30, so visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/NAIT NewsWatch and right on our wall. There was a teenage superstar in Edmonton on the weekend who made her fans' dreams come true. Kids and parents flocked to West Edmonton Mall to get the chance to meet Selena Gomez. Selena was there to sign autographs and give out hugs to the lucky few who got to meet her before her show at Rexall. But for some, the experience meant much more than just getting an autograph.
Cool because I love her and I love her music.
Selena even stayed much longer than she was supposed to, so everyone got the chance to meet their idol. So, word on the street is that the last 15 minutes of this movie will mess you up for life. Are you brave enough to watch it? Check out this trailer for Paranormal Activity 3.
Paranormal Activity 1 and 2 depicted the hauntings of two sisters, but this prequel sets out to explain how the invisible entity first terrorized their childhood. Their father decides to set up video cameras throughout the house to capture the strange events that have been happening. But these parents soon discover that they are dealing with much more than they had imagined.
Julie, watch. See that?
What? Oh my God. What is going on?
Realizing their family is in danger, they try to get help, but things only get worse.
Definitely knows about it.
Paranormal Activity 3 is an edge-of-your-seat thriller that will keep you guessing till the end, but screaming for it to stop.
It's okay.
Did you hear that?
We're getting out of here. Just get in the car and drive.
Paranormal Activity 3, hitting theaters this weekend.
Now, on a much lighter note, you can always find videos of cute cats and dogs on YouTube, but this one seriously had me on the floor laughing.
So, I went to the
This week's viral video is called Ultimate Dog Tease, featuring Clark, an extremely hungry dog getting teased by his owner.
You know that bacon that's like maple? It's got maple flavor.
The maple kind, yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I took that out and I thought,
Yeah.
I know who would like that. Me. So I ate it.
Oh, no. You're kidding me.
How cute was that? If you have a viral video you'd like to feature on our segment, post it on our NAIT NewsWatch Facebook wall. And that's it for entertainment. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Elise. Digital road signs are much more entertaining than your standard billboard, but they can also be distracting.
A new bylaw is aimed to reduce driver distraction caused from these signs. New road signs in Edmonton will no longer be allowed to bounce, scroll, flash, or anything else that could cause increased distraction to drivers. The bylaw also requires signs that are facing parks or natural areas to shut off from midnight to 5 a.m. Edmonton currently has 70 digital signs, although there won't be a restriction on the number of signs being built. A safety review can be requested on any signs that may pose as a distraction.
Thanks for watching NAIT NewsWatch. Have a great evening.